Hello, my name is Mirza Daniel bin Muhammad Asri and my ID is 20520 and I'm from Group 17 and I'll be presenting the issues in waste management sector. These are the several issues how waste management have impacted our lives because of it. For example, the first one is annual waste generations increase, unmodernized solid waste management system, most landfills packed to the brim, and plastic decomposition time. To start off, waste management annual waste generations increased. In the 1976 until 1980, the third Malaysian Plan gave Malaysia the overall environmental policy objectives to balance the goals of socio-economic development. But recently, Vision 2020 of Malaysia has passed without any optimal economic development. Nonetheless, in order to achieve the national environmental objectives, the Department of Environment used a pollution control and prevention-based strategy through enforcement of the Environmental Quality Act 1974. Various factors such as urban migration, affluence, and rapid development contributed to the waste generation up to 3% annually. Second is unmodernized solid waste management system. For the lack of resource and municipal budget constraints, Malaysian laws were overly vague and far from suitable. And not only that, waste dumping in open fields and rivers are common even to this day. A study of waste disposal behavior in Kuala Lumpur indicated that 31.9% of waste were disposed by open field and while 6.5% were dumped into the river system. Last but not least, most landfills packed and plastic decomposition time. With the amount of plastic trash produced, Malaysia is unable to handle it, same as the rest of the developing nation in Southeast Asia. For example, in 2007, plastic waste accounted for 90% of all waste generated in Malaysia. In Asia, Malaysia is second to the Philippines in the proportion of plastics in the solid waste generated. Over 940,000 tons of improperly disposed plastic waste produced annually. Plastics cannot be permanently removed from the environment as it accumulates on the planet. It also reduces the landfill space, and plastic take hundreds to thousands of years to break down into small pieces of plastic, also known as microplastics. And with and due to the rapid population growth and impact on consumer behavior, current landfills are approaching maximum capacity.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Afiq bin Fakutaki. My ID number is 2000726. I'm from Mechanical Engineering. So today I'm going to present about the trends of the landfill and open burning. But before that, we're going to take a little bit closer look of the landfill. The most common way to dispose of waste is in landfill. Since it is the simplest and least expensive technology accessible, it is acknowledged as being a significant alternative both today and soon, especially in low and middle income nation. Municipal solid waste, also known as MSW, is a broad category of waste that is produced from a variety of sources, including residential, commercial, municipal, and agricultural activities, each of which is heterogeneous. So before going to the trends of the landfill, we're going to take a look at the waste generation by region on the table 1, as you can see in the slide itself. For table 2, we could see that there is a type of waste composition by income level country. And then table 3 show that MSW disposal by incomes in the million tons unit. So this is the trends of the landfill. In figure 2, we could see the municipal waste generation in OECD countries compared with the trends in GDP and population recorded from the year 1980 until 2020. And in figure 4, you could see the trends and outlook for management of municipal waste in the EU27, which has been recorded from the year 1990 until 2020. In the next slide, we could see in figure 5, there is a projection of waste disposal method in the world in million tons last year. The first graph show the OECD, and the second one show the non-OECD countries, which both of them have been recorded in the year from the year 1995 until 2020. And in figure 7, we could see the location of the current and closed landfill on the suitability index map. Now going on to the next one, which is the open burning. So the graphic illustrates the rising trend in OWB research. Research on OWB related topics such improper handling of the solid waste, life cycle analysis, biomass burning, electrical equipment waste, and healthcare waste has revealed rising tendency over time. And we could see in their graph itself the number of OWB research from the year 2007 until 2021. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Akmal bin Muhammad, student ID 2000908, and I am from Mechanical Engineering. So today I'm going to talk about the challenges that we face for managing waste. So the first challenges is the public attitude. Malaysia is experiencing difficulties in the industry of solid waste management. The rise in tourism and population, the ability of economy to grow sustainably, and insufficient enforcement of trash law, infrastructure, and local public opinion. This is to show the situation of waste management. Malaysia's solid waste management strategy was used. Activities and issues having environmental, economic, and other implications. Malaysia is developing nation with a 1.3% yearly shift in population. Estimates predict that Malaysia's population will rise from 32.6 million in 2020 to 32.7 million in 2031, an increase of 0.2% each year. The percentage of population growth rate reduced as the number of non-citizens declined from 3 million in 2020 to 2.7 million in 2021. Hypothetically, a nation's solid waste management will grow along with its population. According to research, the data we can observe that some questions are important to the solid waste management. Firstly, in table 1, the item waste disposal is women's business. A total of 263 people, which is most of the respondents, agreed to the statement. This is not true, as managing waste is all part of a person's responsibility, where gender should not be involved in this matter. We should help each other managing the waste. In household, for an example, the family can divide the task or make a duty table for who take out the trash or clean up the waste. That way, the mentality of managing waste is only the woman's job will be revoked. Secondly, low technical power in managing waste. Education of the general population is crucial to the success of any waste management program because it affects how people react and cooperate on trash management concerns. In Malaysia, the general populace still does not have enough understanding of the environment. The action plan for a beautiful and clean Malaysia, launched by the Malaysian government in 1988, was followed by an animal recycling campaign. However, because the public does not respond very much, the campaigns do not have a favourable outcome. Efficiency in Malaysia, the solid waste sector is underdeveloped and has low representation. There is still room for improvement in solid waste management practitioner skills and knowledge at all levels. Due to a lack of human and technical capabilities, Malaysia is still unable to plan, design, build, and operate solid waste management facilities and services. As a result, the lack of solid waste planning and financial investment in recent years has produced facilities that are insufficient and poorly run. Here, as we can see in table 2, it shows that Germany, which are the best country to manage waste according to the World Economic Forum. Germany has enforced laws like the Packaging Ordinance in 1981. This law introduces binding requirement to manufacture for the recycling and recovery of sales packaging. Malaysia, on the other hand, has very poor technical power and the laws are not strong enough to be forced to the country. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
Greetings, my name is Amri Wafi bin Nur Kamar Zaman, ID 20720 from the course Electrical Engineering, and today I'm going to be talking about waste management policies between the year 2010 and 2002. So, let's begin with the first policy, which is the National Solid Waste Management Policy, or SWM 2016. SWM is also known as Dasar Pengurusan Sistem Perwujudan Negara (DPSPN) in Malay. Its goal is to create an accepted solid waste management system that prioritizes environmental conservation, affordable technology selection, and ensuring public health. It is also to implement a solid waste management hierarchy that prioritizes waste reduction through the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle, which is the 3R concept. SWM also is a more refined version of a similar SWM back then in 2006 as it kept two of its main objectives. So here I'm just going to be going through the first, the second, and third objectives since we've been saving a bit of time. So the first objective is the integrated and cost-effective solid waste management covering collection, transportation, intermediate treatment and disposal. The second one being domestic, commercial, industrial, institutional, community and construction solid waste reduction through 3Rs. And finally, the third one is the efficient and cost-effective services through privatization, efficient regulation, and uniform standards. And then we're going to be going to the next policy, which is the Food Waste Management Development Plan for industry, commercial, and institutional sector, which is planned from 2016 until 2026. So, this policy actually developed in line with the SWM policy we just see just now. Its objective is to provide specific strategies towards effective food waste management in every stage, from the waste generation to the waste disposal, with emphasizing on particularly the responsibility of the waste generator as well as other stakeholders. And the second one is as supporting documents to achieve Malaysia's goal of achieving a 40% reduction in carbon emissions by 2020, in line with National Solid Waste Management Policy 2006 that emphasised on a comprehensive, cost-effective, sustainable and conservation of public health, as well as the waste hierarchy via 3R. And this is the second objective. And we'll be going on to the stakeholders role, which is the policy maker, the waste generators, waste collectors and contractors, centralized food waste treatment facilities operators, and landfill operators. So basically every single one of them have their own role. Policymaker will enact regulations about the food waste recycling and also provide incentive. Waste generators will give us a data report. The waste collectors, of course, will collect the food waste. The fourth one, which is the centralized food waste treatment, is basically change the food waste into something better. And finally, the landfill operator will do the proper disposal. And finally, for the policies are the national cleanliness policies from the 21st February 2019. So it has a philosophy, which is to create a clean, sustainable and a prosperous nation through the adoption of the practice of cleanliness in a person, a family, a community, a society in efforts to sustain the environment. And its objectives is to enhance the awareness and adopt the practice of cleanliness within the community, to enhance the cleanliness of the surrounding and sustainability of the environment, to encourage waste to money initiative towards a circular economy, and finally to reinforce governance and enforcement for greater efficiency, effectiveness and integrity. And there is a 5 clusters, so you can see here it's consist of 4 objective, 5 clusters, 14 strategies and 91 action plans for the national health policy. And that's it for the waste management policies. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. My name is Arif Hazim bin Muhammad Rizal, ID number 20723, and I will be helping out with the transformations in waste management for our Malaysian economy assignment. It is seen here that the solid waste management in Malaysia is surely lacking in today's current standards. Although this is a problem, it has certainly been seen worse and better days. Here, we'll discuss all of those transformations for the management for solid waste over time in Malaysia. So, onwards, in its first form, in the year 1970, solid waste was handled and managed by local authorities. It was not very centralized as a waste management system. This is all due to the poor infrastructure to dispose. A lot of confusion was divided in district-wise, so there was no communication in between all the local authorities for this. In its second form, the government has decided to take some form of action. In the year 1987, there was an action plan of Beautiful and Clean Malaysia, and this was implemented to bring about an awareness for cleanliness in Malaysia. Unfortunately, this had no legal and fiscal instrument to regulate the plan. There was no real development, but it was a roadmap which helped to progress this movement. Then in its third form,
After the plan, there were recycling programs that were introduced. Here, it was first held in 1993, then there was another held in the year 2000, and these programs did promote a healthier concept of waste stimulations, but unfortunately, it did not bring much impact towards a lot of us. So there was then we're looking at the fourth form where the government decided to federalize and privatize the solid waste management services. And here we can see that when they did that, they introduced private concessionaires. So these private concessionaires were quite business-driven service, and they still used open landfills because it was quite convenient for them as well. So the private concessionaires over the years have led to unfavorable conditions. They were not paid promptly as they earned their revenue from local authorities, so this led them to reduce in their quality of work. The funds that were provided to them were not well revised, and when they were revised, it turns out that they came up with a bunch of losses. Then they came up the private concessionaires had produced some operation inefficiencies. There were delays in closing dumps, and they were constructing new landfills for all of the waste that was generated, which is not the main goal of privatizing and uh, federalizing the waste management system. So the only private concessionaires that are around today are Alam Flora Sendirian Berhad and Southern Waste Management Sendirian Berhad. The landfill management has not been properly managed, and unfortunately, pollution is still occurring now. That is all for the transformations for solid waste management. Thank you very much.